Okay guys, another Gorilla Platoon transformation coming in, this time a 17-week transformation. We pulled off 16 kg in this. Now, if you're a new viewer of the channel, welcome. My name is Tom Sergey and I run the Gorilla Platoon, which is an online physique transformation program where we get results like this, and we do a video with each result that comes in to explain what we did, how we got there, what was hard, what we did well, and then what you can then learn from in your own transformation. Now, with this being the 26th video we've made, or 26th result that's come in, my aim every time I make these videos is to condense the information so it is as simple for you to follow and to understand. And I will try and aim to start to finish these videos in record-breaking time, so that it's like a mini guide that you can just put your hands on and know how to work from there. So first course of action then, how did we get the result? Well, we started out here, 94 kg, where I believe to be around about 20% body fat, but in hindsight with the amount he dropped off, I think we're looking more about 23% body fat. So the first thing you're going to do in his situation is, as you see it here, is you're going to need to set yourself up on a starting point. Now, I could tell you to use all like my calorie calculator or the ones online. What I'm going to say is use the ones online and just almost take it as a 0 week and run that week at maintenance. Whatever it spits out at you, run it at maintenance. Or you could even try 200 calories. Yeah, let's go for that. Go for 200 calories below the maintenance target of what that tells you. You're going to run the data for 7 weeks. Now, what I want you to do is, you're going to weigh yourself daily, take photos weekly, track all your meals and food daily of the calorie target that it's asked you to have. And you're also going to log your steps and output, and finally your sleep. So then what you're going to do is track that data for 7 days. What that will give you is data and information that you can then tweak your plan on. If you pull off 1 to 2 kilos in the first week, it's okay, it's working. It's okay to pull that off. Why? Because you'll be very inflamed when you start, no doubt. You'll be holding water weight, so again, anticipate like a good drop off and it not really be body fat just yet. And you've also got muscle glycogen that is also leaving the muscle. So you can expect to drop off in the beginning. If you don't see that drop off, it means your input is too high relative to your output. And at that point, you're going to make a change. Now, for the first week, I want you to drop the calories. Now, it depends on the size of you, but as a rule of thumb, you're going to drop it 200. If you're a lighter guy that's starting anywhere on 2,300 and below, only drop it by 100 because it's relative, right? If you can't be dropping it drastically if you're not on a high amount anyway. One thing people get wrong when it comes to their dieting phase is they will try and pull food too quickly and too much of it, and you basically play your cards too early. Look at it like this. Your toolbox for getting in shape, from going from this to this, is you've got 2 metrics. You either decide to pull your food or you decide to move more. In the beginning, in the first week, I may pull from food. After that, I'm pushing activity. The reason being, you would rather be a fitter individual than you would a starving individual. And I found more adherence is easier when we keep food higher. Can you just pull from food? For sure. For sure you can. Don't think there's a right or wrong with this. There's not. There's a right or wrong for you. I personally have a sky-high appetite, and I would much prefer to do higher cardio and keep food high. Some people, generally, their appetite's not great. This result here, you see, this guy not really that interested in activity, not that interested in high food. So we went low food and pulled food low, and he was absolutely fine with that. And it just depends on your appetite. There's not really right and wrong. There's just what's better for you personally, and you'll know this by going through the dieting phase. So then all you're going to do, and it doesn't need to be complicated. Anyone that's tried to sell you complicated fat loss is lying. It's not. There is certain times of it where it's like, yeah, you do need to have a decent brain on your shoulders, but for the long and short of it, boys, track the data for 7 days. If the scale dropped off, perfect. Don't do anything. Keep it exactly the same. And as a rule of thumb, expect to drop a kilo per week. If the scale stayed flat, absolutely make a change. Do you push cardio and output? I'd say so first. Start at 20 minutes per day, heart rate 120 to 130. Why? Well, heart rate 120 to 130 means the intensity is not so high, so it's not going to spike your appetite. Second to that, do it on something that's non-impact. You're talking incline treadmill walk, cross trainer, or a bike. Why? Because it doesn't accumulate fatigue. Therefore, you can do it daily. Now, in the beginning, you're going to do 20 minutes daily. You don't have to do 20 minutes daily. You could stack it. Look at it as like 20 minutes times 7. Stack that however you want. However, you're going to get to the point where it's like 40 minutes daily, and you are going to need to do it daily. And of course, you've always got the element to pull from food. When you are pulling from food, as I said, it's relative to your body weight, first and foremost. Start at 200, and then later on, you'll be pulling like just 100 off. And don't play your cards too early, okay? If you've got a fair amount of body fat to get off, don't be like pull, 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 push, 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 because you'll use all your cards. You'll be 15% body fat. I would absolutely die in and thinking, Jesus, how do these guys get so peeled? And it's because we don't do that. Now, one thing I will tell you to do, which kind of goes against it being not so complicated, is you will accumulate fatigue. You will accumulate fatigue in your body from training and a lot of volume. You'll accumulate diet fatigue as well. So this is how you manage both of those. You're not going to accumulate that until the 8th to 10th week of the program. And what you're going to do to manage training volume fatigue is you're going to run a deload week. What that's going to look and feel like is you still need to give a reason for the muscle to stay on your bones, especially when you are dieting. So you're just going to drop off a set of every exercise and make sure all your... I train with a top set, heavy 6 to 10, back off 12 to 15. On some exercises, there's 2 back off sets. So what I do is, if it's a 2 set, you go into 1. If it's a 3 set, you go into 2. And that's the way you're going to approach that. The way you manage diet fatigue and serious hunger and lack of energy is, after 10 weeks, look to run a refeed, specifically a high carb day. How do you do that? You take your scale weight at the time, you times it by 7. That's going to give you a certain number, and that's your gram of carbs to eat during that day. You're going to half your protein target because you're going to pull from protein to allow more in from carbs. Conveniently, they're both 4 calories per gram, so you're going to make the tweak off the back of that. And that will last you about 10 days. You'll feel pretty good. And what this will also give you the opportunity to do is to collect data at how you look with that much amount of carbs. And there's 3 ways you're going to look. Overspilled, which means it was too high, in which case, that's very rare by the way, because they recommend 8 to 12 from a high carb amount. So if you did overspill, either you've left it too long for the refeed, but in which case 8 weeks is absolutely fine, or it generally is too much. If it is too much, it's not a problem. You're not finished yet, so you can just pull down the carbohydrates. And I'd look to just take them off by 50 at that point. You can look full, which is perfect. That means you're having the right amount of carbs. And you'll know when it's full because if I take this water bottle here, if I press this now, because it is actually a good water bottle, it's fucking, there's not much. There's a bit of squidge in it, but not much. That's like a muscle that's full. If I was to move some of the air out of this and close the lid, see how I can do this? That noise is so annoying, but this is what a flat muscle feels like. And conveniently, your muscles made up of water and obviously carbohydrates. So when it's full of water and carbs, the muscles bulging like I did it a second ago. When you start to get flat, which you could happen after the high carb day, meaning you've not had enough, then you essentially just need some more carbohydrates. Also, by the way, and this is actually where, a second point on why it's not always as simple as pull food, increase cardio. You personally, if this is the first time doing it, you will come to a stage, again, around about the similar time, and this is also why we run the high day, where you say you feel skinny. You're not skinny, your muscle is just flat because you've been dieting for 8 to 10 weeks, you've been on lower carbs, therefore there's not that much muscle glycogen, you've still been training, so you've still been burning glycogen, and your muscle basically looks like this. You're not skinny, you're just flat. Really understand that, because people will quit dieting because they think they've lost muscle. You haven't lost muscle, and this is how you know you've not lost muscle. You've eaten the correct protein target. Rule of thumb, 1 gram per pound of body weight generally works, unless you're really fat, like 35%, go for your height in centimetres, in grams for protein. And your numbers are progressing in the gym. If your numbers are progressing in the gym, fresh air's not moving that new load, it's your muscle, all right? So that's how you know you're not losing any tissue, and you're just flat. And when you run the high day, the muscle will go from feeling like this back to this, and that's what you want. And then at that stage, the high carb day will last you about 10 days. You'll get back to being flat again. The scale should still be trending down. It may go up very slightly over the next day, and if you don't gain, that's how you know you've done it very, very well. And you're just going to continue rinsing and repeating that out until you get to the end, boys. And be a savage with where the end is. Like, this guy is sub 10% peeled to the bone. You can see all the striations through here. And this is where you want to aim for. Don't sell yourself short with it, boys, 100%. And we went from 94 actually down to 78, so that's 16 kg off. Believe he sat in around sub 10, around 8% body fat. First couple of kilos, you could say, were water weight, so realistically he pulled off 14. So yeah, you could say 8% plus 14. Yeah, maybe about 22% body fat, probably starting point in hindsight now. And this was done over 17 weeks, so not quite a kilo per week. And there was the reason for that, he needed to travel for work. So he's an adventurous training instructor in the army. He needed to travel for Switzerland and do this mountaineering course, where then it's harder to track and manage feeding if you need to eat out. If you need to eat out, what do you do? Well, you get your feeding target for the day. When you need to eat out, you only eat protein, and your carbs come from tracked, measurable amounts during the day as well. We also had to manage social events where family would come to visit him in the country he was living in. So therefore, we needed to factor and plan for those. Again, how do you do that? Well, if you've got an event at the weekend, calorie bank throughout the week, take 100 off the first 5 days. There's 500 to play with. On the actual day of the race, just eat protein, maybe a pre-workout meal if you are training on that day, and then it'll give you the room for the calories, and that way you'll still make progress with adherence. I won't go into any mindset stuff in this video. If you watch the last video, it pretty much speaks about full mindset stuff, about you generally need to believe you're an athlete to get to the goal, otherwise you won't get it. But I'll leave you with that, boys, and that was the transformation, and literally how to get in the best shape of your life with all the intricacies and the details in 11.5 minutes. So thank you for watching. If you like the channel, subscribe. If you want to work with me, book a call and we'll take it from there.